of the messages between me and Natalie Bollinger while I was in Virginia. This is while I was supposedly stalking her. We were friends. She was insistent that we go out for my birthday. I didn't want to go anywhere, and she didn't want to go anywhere, and we were just gonna have a picnic in the driveway at her mom's house. We did what Alicia wanted, though. We went where Alicia wanted to go. People keep sending me bad advice. They don't have any clue what's going on, but they want to give me advice. What good is your advice going to be if you're going to say the same things as everybody else and it's not actual advice? It's not useful. It's also not asked for. There's a lot of people throughout this that could have helped me if they could have just stopped giving advice and stopped talking over me. Most of their talking over me was either giving me advice or telling me stories about themselves. So basically, they're telling me a bunch of stories about them and calling it help. They're giving me advice that's based on what? Obviously not an understanding of the situation. When you tell a victim just to let it go, alright, what you're doing is you're letting the predators get away with it. This don't make much sense, do it? Just letting the predators get away with it. Yeah, that sounds like a good friend. Of course, then when you find out that people are getting their drugs from some of your predators, that's not helpful, is it? It's helpful to know, actually. So there's a feller from Germany, and I was hoping he was going to help me today, because I've got recording after recording of me trying to go in by myself, and me just being pawned off onto somebody else who tells me they're not going to look at it, they're going to pawn me off onto somebody else. Then, of course, I send the information that explains the steps that are supposed to be taken. I'm like, this is what needs to be done. Oh no, Sean, that doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work if you never try. If you never try to help the victim turn in their predators, the predators get away with it, and they will do it again and again and again. How can you call yourself someone's friend if you would look away? If you would find every excuse to look away? If somebody has to pay you to be honest, are you really a friend? Hey man, I don't want you to post nothing up or I'm not going to speak up. Well, see, here's the thing, is that if you don't post nothing up, and I make all this effort for no reason, I ain't going to be having you pretend like I made no effort. It's going to be recorded. For good reason. I gotta try to come up with some money for gas again. I gotta try to come up with a place to go locally. I gotta trim my mustache. Get that out of the way, huh? My predators don't marked difference between somebody actually helping and someone claiming they were gonna. A lot of people were gonna, but they didn't. And then later on, they just wanted to give me excuse after excuse. There's a lot of evidence of that. The thing is, I need help stopping this from happening. See, that's the thing. There's supposed to be safety nets in place so that when somebody is disabled, they're not easy to target. There are laws in place that are supposed to make it so there are consequences for police officers who do what they did to me. And those consequences did work with others, but those other people had people with them in person when it happened who actually cared. Not people telling them 4,000 things to do. Not people refusing to record because they think it's rude. Zaid Atkinson was able to get help. Why? Because somebody who knew him and knew that he lived there recorded it and posted it for the world to see while you hide like cowards. And that's why there are so many hundreds of recordings of cowards who claim to be my friends and then played victim when the fact that they knew the whole time that something was wrong. They did promise me help. They promised me if I spent these resources and those resources, Sean, I need money for gas. Sean, I need money for rent. Sean, I need money for diapers. Sean, I need money for food. Sean, I need money. Or I can't help you. Well, here's the money then. If you can't go to the cop shop and tell the truth and write a report in person because you don't have gas money, let's put in the gas money. If you can't make the calls with me because you can't afford your phone bill, let's get that phone bill paid. There are solutions, but not when all you're doing is making excuses. I speak up about a lot of different hate groups. Hate groups like the KKK, BLM, and LGBT, Pride. I can fight for the individual's rights. These are all human beings. But I'm not going to support a racist hate group. Why have I fought my whole life for the rights of people who I'm told are marginalized? Well, I get to live a worse life than most of the minorities I know. Well, I live in inhumane conditions, and I'm told by the very minorities that I'm sticking up for and fighting for that I need to shut up because I'm not black, or because I'm not a Native American, or because I'm not a woman. Because I'm old. Because I'm not a little kid. Because I'm a man, this must be okay. You just go, oh, well, I'll just pretend that Sean never tried. Oh, Sean, someone said that you chose to be homeless. You're digging for any excuse that you can make after the wrong things that you did. Any excuse whatsoever. And then you want to give me advice. You want to tell me I just need to worry about myself. But then you want to pound all of your worries onto me. Pretend like it's my fault because I told the truth. Pretend like I'm a bad person because I showed the truth. How many of these hundreds of people that I recorded tried to get those recordings off of my channel? All of them. Alright, that's not entirely true. Most of the males didn't bother. Most of the males realize, hey, I said it, I might as well fess up to it, because we are taught differently. We're taught it's never okay to hit a woman, while here in the United States, most folks teach little girls that it's okay to hit a boy once. She's allowed one free shot, apparently. That is not okay. And that carries on into them being adults. What are you teaching your children? You're teaching them how to be predators. You're teaching them the how and why predators get away with it. And you're teaching them to play dumb after they do horrible things to innocent people. Natalie Bollinger wasn't perfect. None of my heroes are. Every one of them is screwed up in their lifetime. Many of them screwed up bad enough that it killed them. So goes life, right? You just gotta let it go. There's things that you have to let go, and there's things that you are not allowed to let go. When you are falsely arrested and imprisoned repeatedly for trying to follow the law, when you are literally forced to break the law to show that you and your loved ones are being threatened, are being harassed, are being intimidated. Of course, then you got to go to people who are going to pretend to be your friends, but they'll make any excuse not to look and not to help. They just want your money. And it all comes out in the wash. Their behaviors show their intent. When magically they're able to do things that they claimed they weren't able to do because they're mad at you, because you told on them for ripping you off, for wasting your time, for taking advantage of you and your finances. My predators in law enforcement have helped child molesters, rapists, and murderers get away with your help. You're welcome for trying to expose these people while you guys talk conceptually about how it's wrong. Oh, it's wrong to do these things. Well, I am trying to show you actual evidence of human trafficking from the victims themselves. Many of whom are dead. You guys want me to shut up, you just haven't found a way to shut me up yet. Many have tried. All have failed. Hundreds of people on my YouTube channel alone trying to destroy evidence of the crimes that they committed. Imagine that. Imagine being so immoral that while you talk about honesty and how you stand behind your words, you would try to destroy them. You would try to hide those words from the courts, from the public. Why are you trying to destroy those conversations between you and I? Is it because that has my voice in it? No, it's because it has yours. The things that you said, either to intimidate me or because you really were intimidated, one or the other. In either event, you took advantage of me, you took advantage of the situation, you took advantage of my disabilities. That includes physical, mental, financial, and of course, geographic location does play a major part. But I'm going to run out of gas here shortly, and I need to wipe off the window so I can even see. I got one piece of dry clothing that's actually capable of doing that, and I'm wearing it. But we gotta do what we gotta do, don't we? All these people who gaslighted me, pretended to be other people. Or then there's the ones who pretended like they were gonna help me, but then they hide behind their children. Oh, they threatened my family, they threatened my family. Well, if they threatened your family, why didn't you come forward? Why is it that you've been telling me about them threatening your family for 6 years? But in 6 years, you've done nothing. In 6 years, you did nothing to help me to turn it in. Now, pretty notions and all that, right? Like, sure, you have another pretty idea. How about we stick to the guidelines for which we're opposed to? I don't have enough money to go over to Starbucks, by the way. So, any of the things that I was going to do today over there, I'm not capable of doing. I gotta go panhandling. The weather is cold. It is not pleasant. Holding a sign in this won't be pleasant. A lot of the stuff I have is wet already. I do want to make sure that the stuff on this abuse thing is scrolled through. Its instructions are for me to go to places that I've already been. Oh, there it is. Oh, come on. I guess we'll have to do this. Alright, there it's not wanting to work, but sort of. Oh, great. Then it gives me a notice about 2 girls killed. That's always pleasant when they do that, isn't it? Your phone gives you a notification. These things, I guess I'll have to turn it sideways and do it that way. I'm going to have to do it from inside of my vehicle, which uses gas, but at least I've got the gas in my vehicle. This part right here is pretty important. What are the different types of abuse and neglect? Anyway, I got all these places I'm expected to go to. That money is not enough for any disabled person to live on anywhere in the country without actual assistance. And I'm not getting actual assistance, I'm getting BS. And that doesn't stand for Bolshevik. I think if I go through all the seats in my car and everything, I might be able to find Between that and the 50 cents in my pocket, I might be able to find one more dollar, but it's not likely. It'll be mostly pennies. I do have a $1 bill going to a coffee right now so that I don't get ejected from the premises for not being a customer. So far, they haven't shown me any signs of wanting to do any such a thing, which is good. But it is something that I have to keep at the forefront of my thinking, because it is very often that people do such things, especially when you're in a desperate situation. You've got nowhere else you can go, and that's the closest that you have to a safe environment. That's the closest to being protected from police officers and bad laws that you have. Laws that make it illegal for you to go to the bathroom, to go to sleep at night, or to cover up so you don't freeze to death. These laws, anybody who could do that and think that it's okay has got mental problems. Boulder County Cares was shut down. Now, they used to pass out blankets to the residents of Boulder County until 10:30 p.m. At 10:30 p.m., it became illegal to use those blankets because it was, well, posted all over the place. All these signs. All over Boulder. I kind of like the ones that say no large backpacks. Well, who's to decide what's large? I saw a lady walk into Pumpkin Pantry, Starbucks, with a very large purse. And I saw a young man go in right behind her who had a small, it's called a hand satchel. And it was smaller overall, even with the blanket, than her purse. But they didn't like that. I didn't go into the Starbucks. I was outside. I just saw him going in and heard him coming out.
Other McDonald's, maybe using full lap.
No, ma'am.
Would you like your coffee?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That'd be $1 at the first window, please. Of course, that prevents me from doing anything with my computer. Not that I was able to anyway. Thank you, ma'am. That would have been a good time to show you what I did to my vehicle here. See those two different colors? That one right in the middle of the screen that's white is vomit. That one just in front of it, that's vomit too. That was breakfast this morning. One's over there in another parking lot. One's here at this parking lot, McDonald's. I feel terrible for it, but I'm glad it's raining. One of the people who works at McDonald's just walked into his own vehicle looking at a car that skipped the drive-thru and just pulled in front of me. It happens. When I was assaulted by Waylon Lolotai, this is after we knew that Natalie was dead, but before they found her killer. Lolotai assaulted me, and a lot of people took part in it. You know, they were trying to frame me for killing somebody. Oh yeah, this crazy guy must have done it. It's this crazy guy. Well, I'm not that crazy. I'm determined and motivated. Oh, that guy just threw a piece of paper in the window. I guess he must work here or something. Wanted to be I don't know. Is it a love letter?
50-15. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Getting back to my own little corner of the woods over there. The place I was gonna call. I was waiting on Siggy to get back hold of me, so that I wouldn't have to do it alone. I thought that was the plan. I also thought we were going to do it this morning because he said it was only 9 hours away and he was going to go to bed in an hour. I said, well, that'll give you a full 8 hours of sleep. Oh, somebody else just parked in my pile of cubes, so I'm not going to show you that. That's good, though. You guys don't want to see any more vomit, I'm sure. Anyway, I'm going to have to swallow my pride and get out there. Get freezing for a bit, I guess, because it's, like I said, it's for the birds. A lot of people say, hey, get away from your predators. Well, that's what this is. I mean, that's what it looks like. You know, I don't want to be at any of these businesses around here that don't like me. I don't want to be anywhere near Farnsworth. Those are two unsafe situations right there. Of course, we got people's heads being found all over the friggin' place here. There's so many heads, like, you know, I read about one head that was on the interstate. So they find this head, right? And then all of a sudden I got more people telling me about heads. And I remember Farnsworth talking about having 8 heads in a duffel bag. And I know that's on my channel here somewhere. And he does have mobility, and he is nuttier than squirrel turds. I mean, to go up to random people and just start accusing them being chimos and crap like that, and accusing them of abducting people and stealing people and all sorts of creepy stuff like that, you know, it's messed up. Jim Roberts is another one of his victims. Mr. Roberts said he's taken to this to the police. I said, I asked Jim, I said, will you? And he said, oh, they won't do anything. That's everyone's excuse. It in, they had to go in alone and they were blown off, so they're never going to try again. How about this time you go in together? Can you imagine if Michelle Rodriguez and Kelly Clark and Zayd Atkinson and Sammy Leon Lawrence IV and myself had all worked together, instead of each one of those people looking to make a deal? Money, 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 money. How much taxpayer dollars was spent for them to investigate themselves. Well, I'm sure that they billed somebody for it, but none. They didn't actually investigate themselves. They said, we're not guilty, and that was as simple as it was. Cops say they didn't do it, they must be telling the truth. But now look at it. Look at all the money that the citizens of Boulder County have not only paid out for these guys, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of your tax dollars paid out just for all the court crap. But it works one of two ways. One, you got somebody who actually cares about you, who goes in with you when it happens, when it matters, when it makes a difference. Or two, your friends give you advice, tell you what to do, what to think, what to feel. They tell you where to go. Oh, Sean, you should move to another country. I'm not allowed to leave this one, first of all. Yeah, look it up, dummies. Great advice for someone else. Great advice for another situation. I'll take my own advice. It's what is known as a life straw. Push comes to shove, and I get super thirsty because I'm stuck out in the middle of nowhere again. At least I'll be able to drink something. You don't want to be that guy from Naked and Afraid drinking friggin' nasty water with elephant dung in it. Yeah, literally first day that dude's drinking that stuff. It's got elephant poo in it. You probably shouldn't drink it. What'd he do? He got sick. He got sick. Imagine that. Anyway, the stuff I was gonna do yesterday and stuff I was gonna do today, it's a hurrying up and waiting thing. Always hurrying up and waiting. But it costs me resources. It costs me gas. I have to continue moving, or I get threatened, harassed, and intimidated, and it's somehow magically fine. I mean, obviously, I'm not a black person, so it can't be happening to me. Must be a figment of my imagination. I've been having a pretty severe panic attack most of the morning, but I gotta hide it. You know, I'm hoping Siggy was able to keep his word, but I also hope that he understands my frustration and my fears. He told me that it's illegal to record people in Germany. So there's a lot of stuff that he otherwise would have been able to help me with, but now cannot. But only with certain parts. Now, with him not getting back a hold of me this morning, number one, I'm worried about him because a lot of people that got a hold of me, they got a hold of me because they've been through similar stuff. And sometimes trying to help me out sends them through a traumatic experience. A lot of times people tell me, yeah, I'm sorry, Sean, I get what you're saying. I do understand what it's like when people do that to me, and I am sorry that I did it to you. I really should have thought about it. And I'm thankful for those people doing that, for them making that effort. It does mean something. But it means something only on the emotional level. It does nothing change the situation unless you tell others. If I can see very plainly that my leg is broken, and I am expected to walk 100 miles, Now, you are aware that my leg is broken. You can see that my leg is broken. You won't have to walk 100 miles out of necessity. You're not expected to walk that 100 miles out of necessity. And you're not going to be victimized if you don't walk 100 miles. It's also the fact that I won't have to expect anybody to walk that full 100 miles for me to get help. It's the matter of the fact that I have to get to the end of that 100 miles or I'm in a lot of trouble. That 100 miles, that light at the end of the tunnel, that's being able to turn in my predators. The longer that they are able to drag it out, procrastinate, prevent me from being able to turn them in, the longer term memories people have start to lose important details. Relationships and friendships break down. Technology is lost or stolen. People die. There's laws here in the United States and in the United Kingdom surrounding these things, because these are abuses against the disabled. These are abuses that are used against the elderly as well. Just drag it out in court until the person dies. That's one of the issues with all this conservator stuff. Making the call alone is always a bad idea, especially if you're a homeless male. If you're in a house, you might get an officer who's going to do their job. If you're a female, you might get an officer who's going to do their job. If you have people who are there in person with you, speaking up then and there, police have to do their jobs, or they are criminally negligent. The police are responsible, and multiple departments, mind you, including Chesapeake, Virginia. By the way, I'm not sure if you noticed, but there was a Virginia officer, the type of person you wanted to pretend I was. No, it was a Virginia officer who actually perpetrated that, isn't it? What did this guy do? Pretended to be somebody else so that he could stalk some underage girl across the country, kill her parents, or kill her mother and her grandparents, and then run away. Now, what are the chances that she might have actually asked that man to do so? We don't know. And what are the chances of us being told the truth? Not very likely. They will leave out any details that show their own wrongdoing, or outright lie about the situation, as always. Oh, we got rid of him in October. No, he didn't. He quit. That's the thing, is that you want to pretend that these officers who go do these horrible things while they're on vacation, they quit. Oh, well, he didn't actually quit. We had to get rid of him. No. Don't, No. That'd be like listening to Scott DaCosta. Making me go to my predators, to turn in my predators. It's called a conflict of interest, among other things. So here I am, and according to my disabilities in your statistics, I'm one of the most at-risk adults in the country. And you guys are handing the people who are the most likely to take advantage of someone like me, you are handing them everything that they need to succeed, and doing it again and again and again. Thank goodness, even though nobody cared about me at Clearview, someone did care about Tibor Hatay, and they were shut down. Although nobody listened to me or did anything about Waylon Lolotai, he did it to others afterwards. He got a big head after getting away with doing it to me. I wasn't going to let it go. And because I didn't let it go, because I tried to work together with the other victims, and because I tried to believe, who? That's right, Darren O'Connor. My information was still able to help coordinate and do what needed to be done to get Waylon Lolotai off the force. Now the problem is getting me an honest day in court and getting that evidence that I was illegally prevented from access to begin with. Same thing in Hood River. Chances are to be the same thing here in Tillamook. Corruption ain't a joke. It's not a figment of our imaginations. You know why that officer who had been an officer for 27 years, 27 years the man had been an officer. Where? Adams County, Colorado, the same place Natalie Bollinger got her brains blown out. What did he lose his job for? He forgot to turn off his dash cam and recorded himself raping a mentally ill woman on the hood of his vehicle. If nobody had cared about that woman and helped her to turn that officer in, well, he would have just called her mentally ill. Nobody would have looked at the body cam evidence or the dash cam evidence. Nobody would have even tried. They'd have just waited till the end of the year. And of course, after a year, they're allowed to destroy the evidence. All that officer's got to do is say she's mentally ill, and it all goes away. They won't even look. That woman was not lucky that she was raped. She was lucky that somebody listened to her. Someone who actually cared. Somebody who wasn't blowing smoke up her backside. And they did it fast, quick, and in a hurry. And there are consequences for that officer. Where is he now? He is in prison in an alpha unit. Fitting. Who goes to alpha units? Is that dominant males? No. It's people that the rest of the prison population will literally beat to death. Sex offenders and bad cops. You're not so tough without your badge. You're not so tough without your gun. You're not so tough when we have 4/5 of our prison, or incarcerated, sorry, not just prison, but incarcerated population. 4/5 of them were homeless. They had no money. They had no loved ones, no family. And everybody in their surrounding groups, as big as they talked, were too cowardly to come forward in court. So we got a bunch of innocent people sitting in prison for everything from Well, murder to telling on police officers who committed murder. To telling on child molesters, including their own. Including their very own predators. With those homeless people who were innocent, who were sitting in there. Those homeless people who were victimized their entire lives, grew up in the system because of things that were not their fault, and had to learn how to survive. They turned 18 and you threw them out on the streets, and guess what they did? They survived. And you locked them up for it. Well done. These are the people who actually stand up to your predators when they come in person to do something. I have no problems believing that Mobley, that's Stephen McMillian, or Monkey, that's Michael Pennington. I've got no problems believing that they would beat somebody to death on accident for harming me in front of them. Mobley can't because he's dead now. Michael Pennington, that man saved my life on more than one occasion. I don't mean figuratively, I mean literally. When you guys give your advice, you give it based on things that you have assumed. When I'm annoyed at you for typing the same thing at me that 400 other people have typed at me, why don't you move? I have moved. You say, why don't you move on? I have tried. I'm not allowed. It doesn't matter where I move to. I am an at-risk adult, and everyone knows it. I am easy to victimize, and all of you are well aware of that. You showed it loud and clear by allowing these things to happen, knowing that I told the truth about your individual situations, which is why you have to use situations with others that you weren't there for as an excuse for the horrible things you've done. Oh, well, you did this with this person? Are you sure? Because see, just like with the evidence with you that you should have bothered to listen to, you should have listened to the evidence with them as well. There's a lot of people who, after the fact, wanted to say, Sean, I never said that. I'm like, I recorded it. You did what? I recorded it. Oh my Lord. Some of them don't believe me, so I sent them a link to the video. Here you go, Miss Peaches. Is that my voice or yours? That's right, it's your voice. You did say it, Miss Peaches. You absolutely did. You did say it, Megan Missigatus. You absolutely did. So for the last week, I've been trying to work with this German feller who's trying to help me turn in the stuff that's going on, sort of. He's got great ideas like a lot of other people. And I am trying to fill him in on what's going on, and I'm sort of getting familiar with what he's been able to see and what he hasn't. He did get sick for a bit. Maybe that's an excuse because he doesn't actually want to help me. Maybe he legit got sick. I don't know because I'm not there. What I do know is the words that come out of his mouth. And I have to judge everything based on those words and his actions. Now, there comes a point where if your words and your actions have not met up enough times, I'm no longer going to be patient. There are a lot of people who are dead, and a lot more people keep on ending up dead the longer this goes on. A lot of these people are that I recorded them. Well, their voices are important. They didn't use them. They could have told the truth to the public. They could have told the truth to the courts. Instead, they made me record it. Made me. Does that mean they twisted my arm? No, it means people are threatening to kill my friends and family. All right? I'm only going to be paid for so long. You get my loved ones killed because your cowardice, you in a mask with "be patient," or "you just gotta love yourself," or "a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush," or "you just need to move on," or "you just need to get away from those people," or "you just need to take care of yourself," which always results in "you're selfish, you're selfish." You tell me I'm too selfless. I need to think about myself. When you don't get what you want, you tell me I'm selfish and I don't think about anyone but me. No matter what, you're just gonna change it around, aren't you? Kind of like your advice for women is completely different from your advice for men. Why do you tell girls it's okay to get a free shot on us? Why do you teach your daughters it is okay to assault us? Why do you teach them that that is okay? It's not okay. First time I ever really seriously got kicked in the nuts, it's because the girls at my school, St. Vrain Valley School District. If you know where that is, you live in Colorado. First time I ever really got kicked in the nuts. It's because some of the girls at my school learned that if you kick a boy in the nuts, they go down. Guess where I was when I realized if you do the same thing to a girl, she goes to the hospital, same school. That's right. One of them little boys who got kicked in the nuts had a brother who was just 1 grade older than him. And you know what he did? He ran over and he kicked that girl right in the same place. And she started bleeding. Maybe you should think twice before asking for equality. Imagine if in 5th grade, if girls had to endure that. And it's not like us boys hadn't seen them do it before. But sometimes when the girls are giggling and they talk to you and you come over, sometimes one of them wants to be your friend. Sometimes one of them is like, "All right, dude, you have toilet paper hanging off the back of your shoe. I'm not trying to be rude to you. The girls are kind of giggling about that. Just figured we'd let you know before the boys make a big issue of it." Cool. No problem. But you know, you see them do that to 3 or 4 boys or more. Yeah, you don't want to go over there. They're like, "Oh, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything." And now if you go to the teacher at that point and you say, "Hey, I don't want this happening to me." They're like, "They said they're not going to do anything." And of course, they didn't because you didn't give them the opportunity. But if you do go over there and they do kick you in the nuts and you go to the teacher and you say, "She kicked me there." "Well, what were you doing messing with her? Why were you over there bothering her?" They were giggling and laughing at me and they called me over. They were giggling and laughing at you, huh? So what, you went over there and started yelling at him or something? What'd you do to her? Why'd she kick you in the nuts? Girls don't go just kicking boys in the nuts for no reason. Are you sure about that? It's not for no reason. It's because they learn that it's entertaining. They see how a boy reacts, and it's like some magic thing that you've taught them. Hey, look at this. This is really cool. I did teach some martial arts to some youngins. But I also taught them that that's not what it's for. It's not for fun. Imagine if the boys on the playground call your daughter over. Do that, exactly that to your daughter. Kick her right square where most of us boys are well aware exactly what it feels like for our end of the deal. For it to be entertainment. For the girls who are doing this to be told that they're allowed a free shot. They're allowed to hit us once for free. They're allowed to stalk us at a ratio of 11 to 1. Female to male stalkers. Meanwhile, men are incarcerated at between 6 and 27%. Or sorry, 6 and 27 times more than women. And I'm told that I'm sexist because I was born with parts that did I ask for them? I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask for the color of my skin. I didn't ask for your racism or your bias. I didn't ask for your bad advice. Your advice is based on assumptions. And the time that you could have spent finding out what's going on instead of projecting bad assumptions at me. What did you do at that time? That's right, you talked about yourself. You talked about yourself and your problems. And everybody around you. Kind of like Laura Nelson. I'm trying to tell her what's going on. I need her to listen because I need help stopping the abuse. And just one story after another about all of the people in town who she's going to gossip about because they annoy her. Okay, Laura Nelson, fine, but I'm being abused and I need help stopping it. So can we focus on that for a minute? And you know what? Laura Nelson did focus on that a little bit. After now, Natalie Bollinger got her brains blown out. She was there for several situations. But she didn't come forward about them. I had to record them and post them on YouTube and Facebook. Are you guys at all becoming familiar with my tactics? You tell the truth or I will. For you, it's a matter of saying, yes, this did happen. Speak up. For me, it's a matter of trying to find the basic resources to survive, in addition to the basic resources needed in order to prevent my evidence from being lost or stolen or destroyed. And then, of course, for that, I got to keep the vehicle and all of the bills that go along with that. Then I'm expected to jump through a bunch of hoops and go a bunch of different places and call a bunch of different places. So I need the gas for that. Of course, I need the telephone for that. And then, of course, there's a part where the lawyers say I have to record it. So I also have to record it. Everything. But then, when I have to make a call alone, here's how easy it is if you and I make a call alone. You and I make the call alone when we agree to. That way I'm not wasting my time and money on what? What am I wasting my time and money on at that point? Empty promises, as always. So if you keep your appointments, or let me know if you're not able to keep your appointments, that helps out a lot too. It allows me to go do something else that I would not be able to stop in the middle of just because you wanted to call me at some odd hour of the night. When you call me at 2:38 p.m., or sorry, 2:38 a.m., and tell me, all right, now I'm ready to work on it. But at that point, I don't have access to anywhere I can go to plug in the computer. Not okay. Ugh. And all these people with their advice. Tony DeStassi wanted to tell me I should leave the country. Between telling the truth about the death of Daniel Kitlitz to the public and trying to leave the country, he admitted in that recording that he was trying to leave the country. You know what else? He also admitted to his part in the death of Daniel Kitlitz. I told the truth about Tony. Tony was giving him chest compressions and was going to give him mouth to mouth. I told true stories. Just because I'm not happy with Tony doesn't mean I'm going to pretend that situation did not happen. Which is something that many people decide to do after they get busted. Like, oh, I'll just pretend that never happened. Oh, that is where you guys screwed up the most. Because that's where you went from committing misdemeanors to committing felonies. And many of you, in that case, weren't even committing misdemeanors. Everything was up and understandable up until the point that you started trying to hide it. All right? If you're driving down the road, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. You're driving 35 miles an hour. It's nighttime and somebody steps out of the bushes at the last second right in front of your vehicle and dies. Well, you can tell by the screech marks how fast you were going. And also based on how far his carcass flew. Now, he is not dead because of anything that is your fault. That isn't even manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter. That's basically assisted suicide at that point. But the moment you try picking up the body, hiding the body, getting rid of the body in any way, shape, or form, well, then you're committing crimes. Now you're trying to cover up a murder. It is considered a murder at that point. And you're not going to win. You tried to hide and get away with it. You run over somebody on accident, you're going to feel terrible about it. The crime there is tampering with a body. That's just one of them. It's evidence tampering. Whether a crime has been committed or not, the moment you start tampering, you become a criminal. With Daniel Kitlitz, I knew he was dead. That was obvious. Did I touch him? I think I touched him on the shoulder, but I'm not for certain. It might have been Tony that touched him on the shoulder, because we had to turn him from his side to his back to give him chest compressions. Those were instructions given to us by the 911 operator, and we followed instructions of the 911 operator. Now, of course, if they wanted to say, oh, you were tampering with a body because you did what the 911 operator said, well, they're not going to admit that part, are they? They're not going to say, oh, the 911 operator told you to administer chest compressions. Told you have to get him on the back to administer chest compressions. No, they'll just leave that part out. And also, in that instance, they either A, have to pretend that Tony doesn't exist, because he was a witness who was there, which means pretending that I'm schizophrenic and just making him up. That's not so easy to do, since he's already on my channel admitting to trying to save Danny's life. He's already on my channel admitting that he's trying to flee the country. That's King of Nickels, his old boss. Who's King of Nickels? The woman from Hungary, very sweet lady, who is an American citizen now, but didn't want to come forward about her part in the Natalie Bollinger situation. Why? Because she was afraid of being deported. Here's another thing. People using their kids as an excuse not to come forward. Oh, Sean, I can't. My kids, my kids, my kids, my kids. Well, with all due respect, you had those kids when you made those promises. You had those kids when you took my money. You had those kids when I invested what I had to come and see you because you said this or you said that. If you come here, Sean, if you come here, Sean. And then I did. To my eternal shame, I did. Because while I'm out here trying to expose child molesters, rapists, and murderers, I'm having to turn you guys in while you meant well, while your heart was in the right place. It was in your chest where it belongs. But that's not what that saying means, is it? What it means is that you have good intentions. Your intentions don't make any difference whatsoever with no follow-through. You may intend on turning it in so that somebody that you know to be innocent can finally be left alone, or at least have a place where they have some rights as a human being. I almost had money for land. I was going to get a house in Chapel, Nebraska. 44 Thompson Avenue. 41 Thompson. Anyway, I was going to buy it. It was cheap. I was going to buy it from a woman named Megan Christie. Then Natalie Bollinger got shot in the head. Not buying that house. Of course, the real kicker there is that I specifically wanted to buy that house for a reason. Because of a young woman named Brittany Richmond. Her brother Zach Richmond is the one that ended up buying it. And then Zach sold it to Dallas. Dallas couldn't pay the bills because he lost his job. He just stopped going. He got depressed and just stopped going for like 7 or 8 months. It literally took his ex, Harley Renee Richmond, drinking and driving with 5 kids in the vehicle, and him getting charged as a woman batterer for him to get motivated, get off his butt, and actually go back to work. Now, mind you, the whole time I'm trying to be understanding. He's depressed all the time. Tough not to. All he was wanting to do at that point in time is drink booze and play video games. And listen to some really, really loud shows about killing and murder and death. Some of the grossest shows ever on TV, and he wants to watch them. When it comes to places like Chapel, Nebraska, or Boulder, Colorado, Chapel, Nebraska is one of them towns where everyone knows everybody. Or at least they think they do. Boulder, Colorado is one of those places where the people within the homeless community know most of the other people within the homeless community by face, at least. People like me, people like Steve Tomlinson, people like Mateo Talbot. These are all people that folks recognize from within the community. Even though Steve Tomlinson was not homeless, he was at one point in time. I keep being told to go to these places alone. It's illegal for them to make me go to these places alone. And all of these places that I'm going to know it. They know that what they're doing is against the law. It is neglect. They're pushing it on to somebody else. Anyway, I fight for homeless rights. That includes homeless women. It includes homeless children. It includes homeless atheists. It includes homeless Christians. It includes homeless Buddhists. It includes homeless Jews. It includes homeless Muslims. It includes homeless white folks as well. It includes homeless men. While the other victims of Waylon Wollatai were happy to scrounge up for a few dollars, they should have been suing the city of Boulder and the Boulder Police for exclusively hiring goons like that. I did my part, they all looked the other way, and none of them kept their word.